Hey everyone, Miss Dempsey here. Hopefully you all are having a good week and a good weekend as we wrap up this week's daily races, which was particularly interesting because we had a daily C race in Wet Tokyo Expressway, which will be today's video. But before we get started, I wanted to quickly get this out. So every now and then I've been asked about making a Patreon as another way to support me, and I've been thinking about making one, but I want to ask you all if it's okay with me to either make one now or make one later down the road. So this is something I'm taking very seriously. I want to hear what you all have to say, so put your thoughts in the comments down below. But anyways, let's go ahead and get back to the race. As we start, here I am in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3. This car does very well in the turns, but the thing is that it doesn't do as well in the high-speed section, normally the main street. And this car is pretty twitchy, so you want to be very careful when it comes to accelerating, especially in the lower speed sections. And here we have the 911 RSR and the GTLM cars coming up right behind. They're slipstreaming off of me, and we go a little bit wide. We're just trying to respect each other, but it's going to get a little bumpy since we don't have that much grip. This race was just really interesting just because we have to be careful when it comes to sliding around and hitting each other, because the last thing we want to do is give each other penalties, as there's no runoff areas or anything like that. And here I'm just trying to be very careful. I know they're ahead of me, they're getting away, but I'm not too concerned, as the GT over here, he ends up going a bit wide and hits the wall. So I get the clear advantage. I'm going to go ahead and pass him without any difficulty. So now my eyes are on the 911 RSR, which I'm going to assume it does this part a little bit better than what the Huracan does, but I still have a bit more speed than the 911 RSR. So once we get to the main street, I'm not going to be too concerned, especially as I am not too far behind it. So I'll definitely get some of that slipstream later down the road. And here I almost lose it. Once again, this car gets pretty twitchy at times, and that turn is probably the most deceiving turn for me, as I've lost it so many times there, especially during the time trials. I'll mention that later after the race, but here the Porsche goes a little bit wide, so I'm going to go ahead and take a shorter line, and I'm just going to carefully accelerate my way out, try to make sure that the Porsche has plenty of room to maneuver. And I'm going to just stay right behind him, because I'm going to go ahead and get all that delicious slipstream advantage and see if I can pull up ahead of him before we get to the first turn. And of course here I'm getting that advantage. I'm going to go ahead and slingshot ahead of him. But the main question is, will I be able to keep first place once we get to the first turn and past it? But the thing is that the 911 RSR is now going to go ahead and start getting faster than me through the slipstream, and the GTLM is not going to be far behind. Actually, he's right here because he has immense top speed. They're going to go ahead and get the inside line, brake a little bit later, but I brake a little bit early, take the outside line, and I'm going to go ahead and undercut them. They end up going just a little bit wide because the car is sliding around. But I just thought that was pretty interesting to see. It's like a little dance. And that's, I don't know, I just thought that was actually pretty cool to see. And the Porsche is trying to get ahead, but I'm going to be able to barely secure the position. And it looks like we tapped just a bit. I don't think we really tapped, because when I was doing the race, I didn't really feel anything. But now, all I have to do is make sure I get through this chicane nice and squeaky clean. That part's a little bit easy to mess up, because it's easy to end up getting the car to either understeer or slide into the wall, and you don't want that to happen, especially when there's cars behind you, as that is a recipe for disaster. I'm trying not to get that penalty like from the penalty challenge video earlier, but luckily we're not in the Veyron. And here, just trying to be nice and gentle, and I think at this point the people behind are starting to go a little bit wide, but of course I was a genius and forgot to record their perspective, so we're not going to be able to see what they're going through, how they're taking the lines and stuff like that. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and talk about this combination in itself. This combination is, well, it's torture. The only reason why I say that was because I decided to invest a lot of time in trying to get a better time. When I got the lap guide, I think that was a 2:12.1, and after who knows how many hours, I was finally able to bring it out to a 2:11.7, still with the Huracan GT3. I was somehow struggling with the Ford GT LM, as that car, I mean, that's pretty much the meta car. The Huracan is one of the other, I guess, like the secondary meta cars, but I don't know why I was just having a hard time with the GT LM car. I think I was just having a hard time just trying to get it to rotate. But either way, whichever car you're using, you just have to be super careful when you're going through these turns, as it is super easy to get the wheels to spin and potentially get the car spinning around and end up hitting a wall. Alright, and here I am skipping over to the finish line on the final lap. Anyway, it was a kind of an easy win. I think the person behind was about 4 to 5 seconds, so didn't have to worry about them at all. And I wanted to show you all this, so I made a quick video and put it up on Twitter the other day. And I just wanted to basically show you my experience when it came to trying to prove my time on this track. Have a look. And yeah, I'm not going to lie, I got really frustrated a lot of times when I was trying to prove that time. And I think, as I said, I have no idea how long it took me to go from 2:12.1 to 2:11.7. All I know was that it felt like a million years, and it kind of just wore me out, and I had to step away from this game for a bit. And I only did a handful of races. They were fun, but I was just too worn out from the time trial shenanigans. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off here, except I gotta say one thing. I am so excited for next week's B race, which is going to be on San Qua B with Group 3 cars. So I'm really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to doing some races there, and hopefully I get to see some of you there. But yeah, so don't forget to comment about the Patreon if you want me to make it now or later. Comment it down below on this video. This is Mr. MCA wishing you a good race and a good rest of the weekend, and I'll see you in the next video.